So Raycast Notes came out recently, and it's a new note-taking feature in your Raycast. How nice. If you go on Raycast, you type notes or Raycast Notes. You see it in there. You see you can also search and create, etc. So if we just go to Raycast Notes, it brings up this window with the welcome screen. How nice. So what's nice about these notes? Let's go create a new one. The first thing that's nice is it's all keyboard focused. That's not surprising coming from Raycast, but it is still an excellent feature. Go create a new note. Then there's also the fact that these are markdown notes. So you can write normal text, of course, but you can also write bulleted lists. You can write more stuff. You can write numbered lists. You can write big old code blocks. So that's nice. And headings, of course. So you get some nice text formatting, which is really nice. This is not unique to Raycast, of course. Notion does this, Obsidian does this. Quite a lot of tools do this these days, but it's a very nice feature. So it's good to see it in Raycast. That is essentially the app they give you. Let's talk about some of the downsides and why I won't be switching from my existing note-taking apps to Raycast Notes. So if we go and we open another window, say Safari, see that it's still here. It's still on top. And that I find somewhat annoying. Not that it's difficult to close this. You can hit the X, you can hit escape, and you can bring it back with Raycast. And of course, since it's Raycast, you can also assign a hotkey to bring it up. And so you could bring it up, type, hit escape. There's definitely a workflow here where you quickly take notes and close it out from screen. But personally, I find it unintuitive that you can't put windows on top of it, and it doesn't show up in the switcher either, because it's not a dock app. It's just part of Raycast, and Raycast lives up here. That's number one, is that you can't put this window behind anything. Then number two, let's make a note on this, downsides. One is floating window, and two is that you can only have one window at a time. Which means if I want to go back to the welcome note, I can't look at the welcome note and this note at the same time. We can go to Browse Notes, or we can just hit the hotkey. So we can switch to it quickly enough, very quick, welcome. It's as quick as you would expect, but you can't have them both open at once. And Raycast lists this as a feature, actually. This is the Raycast Notes manual. And if you go down near the bottom, you can see, can I open multiple notes at the same time? You can close that. No is what this says. You cannot. So those are some significant downsides that I see currently. And they're unlikely to be resolved, I would say, because Raycast is opinionated about its notes, and that's a good thing, ultimately. Not everyone has the same taste in their note-taking app as I do. But for me personally, this is a no-go. Also, there is an elephant in the room in that there's no mobile. So if you take any notes here, you cannot access them on mobile. Unlike Notion, for example, which is a web app, Raycast is a native app on your Mac. So without a mobile app, you actually can't just go to a website in Safari. There's no workaround. You can't access your notes on mobile right now using Raycast. So if we go back to Raycast, you'll see down somewhere on this page, there is a beta for iOS coming at some point. So this will be resolved, but this is a very significant downside at present. No mobile app. Let's talk about one more downside, which is the lack of attachments. Lack of attachments. Another way to say that is you can't add images. Can't add an image in here. There's no way to do it. You can go here in the extended controls. No images can go in here. Unfortunately. That's too bad. And that's a feature that I think people are really going to miss. In addition to no mobile and only using one window, I think not being able to add images is a serious limitation. Every other note-taking app I can think of allows this and has for some time. So this one, while with mobile, maybe I'll caveat this with yet. No mobile app is clearly coming. They know that this is a problem. So this will not be an issue in the future. I'd be surprised if they don't ultimately end up supporting this. These ones, I think, are here to stay. But I suspect they'll add attachments in the future because people will want it for their notes. It's table stakes these days for a note-taking app to support more than just text. And so that's pretty much it for the major downsides. Now, I'd like to, let's expand our note a little bit, and I'll switch over to what I think is the best possible future for Raycast Notes, which is that they become as good as, say, Apple Notes or maybe Notion on mobile and desktop, while also being extensible. So basically, extensibility. This is what I would love to see from Raycast, because Raycast itself is extensible. That's what you see when you go to the store. These are all extensions. So if I want to integrate with Apple Notes, I can just type Notes, and someone has already built the extension there. If I want to integrate with Linear, likewise, it's in there. GitHub. If you want to chat GPT UI, it's in there as well. There are all sorts of extensions here, and they were created by people, for the most part, who are not part of Raycast and just wanted to build something. So Raycast has a history of being extensible. This is where they started. And what I would love to see for their notes is for the notes themselves to become extensible. This would be like Obsidian, but unlike Obsidian, they are focused on native interfaces. They're focused on really snappy UI and being integrated with the platform, which is of course not what Obsidian does. Obsidian uses web-based technology, and the UX can be a bit lacking on mobile, although it's still a really good note-taking app. It is currently my #1 note-taking app. But it would be great if Raycast could supplant that. If Raycast could become both an app with amazing UX and extensibility, I think it would have a real chance of making a dent in the note-taking app market, which is very saturated, let's just say. There are a lot of note-taking apps, which is good for the user. You have plenty of options. But what is Raycast going to do to stand out? Currently, what they're doing is only allowing one note in their window. So this is what I'd like to see. I don't have high hopes for it because Raycast seems to be shipping a lot of B2C features, a lot of features just for the users so they can upsell you on their pro plan, which is what Notes is. You do get 5 free notes, so it's a good sticky note, maybe a little paste bin type thing. But if you actually want to use it more seriously, you're likely going to want more than 5 notes. And if you want that, you're going to have to pay them. Nothing wrong with that. But that is why I don't think there is going to be extensibility in the notes feature. Because if developers can go write software that you or themselves or someone can use, then they can go write any feature that Raycast might add. Any feature that Raycast might add that they want to charge for, a developer could just go create it. There are tons of developers that really enjoy just writing software. So it doesn't matter that there's no payment. The Raycast store isn't actually a store in the financial sense. There are no financial transactions there. It's just a place where you can put your extensions. And people would be happy to write extensions for free for Raycast, as they already have. So I don't think it's likely they will make the notes extensible, and that is too bad.